Okay, YouTube.
Mark Henry, legend.
Mark Henry, yeah. So this is Instagram. These are our friends. Mark Henry's over here. Eddie Alvarez is over here.
Mark Henry, unblock me, please. It's going to progressively get worse. Just like Robin said,
Yeah.
the bad voices are creeping in.
But that's natural, right? Like, when it is fucking crazy to me that people watch fighting and criticize fighters. I can't even wrap my head around that idea. Like, you dedicate your life to this moment in time, and other people will sit on the couch and go, that guy sucks. It's fucked up to me. I don't know if these will catch us, right? Yeah, we're good.
It is because we understand the sport, right?
Yeah.
But it's like whoever hasn't sinned cast the first stone. I've been that guy.
Right.
At certain points, I've been that guy. Before I entered the sport, I remember looking from the outside in, judging and going, but until I actually engaged in the sport, I went, whoa, this is I began to have a different understanding and said, all right, now I get it. I'm not the judge. So I think until these fans actually get themselves inside of an MMA room and begin fight training, even on a
which will make their life better anyways.
Yeah.
Your life gets better the second you start training martial arts.
Absolutely.
You know. So you were the guy. So you know what I do. I analyze fighting. I'm obsessed with fighting. I analyze martial arts. When we were spent a period of time where everybody would be like, you would fight, and then the next thing, the conversation, what does it mean to the division? And people would just talk about what the next fight was. Then we started to kind of analyze fighting a little bit. This punch, this check, whatever. You were the guy that when I started analyzing you, I realized there was something happening where in the fight, you're in an altered psychological state. So when you fight, you are not the same guy as you are sitting here talking to me. No. Is that, it's the comparison I can make for people who will never fight is they take mushrooms or something. They're in a different psychological state. You're in a different state when you fight a man in a cage, right?
100%. 100%. Your brain switches. Right now I'm thinking about what I'm going to say to you. Everything's clicking perfectly. I'm in a cognitive state where I can say, Robin, I understand my next word and I'm saying it clearly. Fighting is nothing like that. Your brain switches over completely to another side and it's fight or flight, completely reactionary, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah,
there's no better place to be on earth than in that place, and you can only really be there when you're in a seriously dangerous situation.
And most of us run from those situations or move away from them, but truthfully, that's where joy and growth and being a better human being is by being in situations like that.
I feel that way. I do. No. And you never feel more alive. I feel like you need to feel in danger to understand that you're alive. And the closer you can put yourself to death, the more you realize you're actually super alive.
Yeah. And so right now, you've got to eat these things and you're sitting here chatting with these guys, whatever is happening. You're like, oh, my kid did something. Oh, did we pay that bill? Whatever. In a fight, none of that is possible.
No.
None of that could possibly even creep into it. Only this trained professional killer in his underpants fighting me in this case. That's the only thing on earth in that moment.
And that's the biggest difficulty in this sport, and that's honestly what separates people who become world champions and be able to stay world champions for a long time versus your normal everyday fighter. The world champions are able to shut everything out in a high stressful situation. They're able to block everything out and have total blinders and focus on what's going on. And the everyday fighter, the promoter may tell him he's a little bit better than what he actually is, and that may creep in his mind and make him lose focus. And a fan may say, "Hey, you fucking suck," and that may creep in his mind and make him lose focus. The world champions, they're literally unshakable. They can walk into a room of 1 million, 2 million, viewers all over the world, and people watching, and just be in complete presence inside of a cage,
which is incredible, fucking incredible. And so I'm an immense fan of your work and what you've done and your art and how you've built what you do. And when you have moments where you're facing somebody else like you, like Michael Chandler or this guy on Saturday night, it must be thrilling to get to have that? Like to get to fight a guy who may be on your level as sort of psychologically like that?
I do, and I remember the first Mike Chandler fight. I didn't really understand who the guy was. I didn't understand what he brought to the table, and then the second one, the excitement.
That guy's fucking good.
The excitement set in where I went, I may be fighting a mirror image of myself, and I feel like this battle will become less about skill and it'll become more about a spiritual battle. This is a battle of that's going to go beyond physical, and technical
and punches and kicks.
Way beyond that. It's going to literally be a spiritual battle where I'm going to have to be almost out of my body at certain points and have to come back into myself and say, relax, calm down. We're gonna get through this type deal.
Do you think this is like that too?
I'm looking forward to this being like that. If it's not, then it's not. If this thing,
but the idea that it is gives you joy.
The idea that I may have to dig deeper than what I understand I can even dig is exciting to me. That we may get there and we may go there. That's exciting to me.
That's fucking thrilling. Like that's the idea. See, most people, that would terrify them. You know what I mean? The idea that what if I get pushed to a point that I don't know if I'm capable of it? That's terrifying to most people. But the idea that thrills you is inspiring to me.
It only thrills me now because there were certain points where I did fear it ungodly, and then I got through it, and then I did it again and feared it ungodly and got through it. When you get through it, and you realize the growth that's on the other end and the joy that's on the other end, then you change your perspective on the whole idea.
Wow, yeah. So I don't know how much of the stuff when I'm talking about your work that you've seen, but when I was talking about this fight, I talked about this idea of anti-fragility. So the opposite of fragile is not robust or resilient. Resilient means you can handle something. Anti-fragile means by going through it, you actually become stronger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That by having done that, it made you a better person, more capable of doing it again. And that's true, right? By having done these things.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah. It's wild, man. And when people will hear that, I'm always like, my job as I see it is to try to make people see this incredible beauty of what you guys do. This incredible rare, because we live in a world where you could see 100 fights this month and you might not understand how special they are. And so where I find myself sometimes is lacking the words to properly get across this point.
The anti-fragility.
Or the point of what it is to walk through fire and fight people in these moments, or what it is to come out the other side stronger. It's hard. If you really think about what you're doing, we don't really have the words to describe it properly.
No, not really. I think people tune in every week to watch fights. They call them fights, but rarely do we get to see a fight. We see an athletic event where one guy is much better than the other. He dominates the fight and wins by unanimous decision, or he gets a submission and dominates. There's very few times a year we actually see a fight. People tune in every single pay-per-view in the hopes that they get to see a fight. And that one pay-per-view where they do, that's why they buy the next one and the next one, because they may... One time out of them 10 fights that go on, they may see one guy's will match the other guy's. And then
they can feel
happens.
It when they see it.
Yeah.
You know it. Even if you're not educated as to what these specifics of martial arts or conditioning or whatever, you know it when you see it.
100%. And you can, that's what, as a fight fan, I'm a fighter, but I'm a fan of this thing first. I tune in for that. I tune in for the guy who I know is on his way out and fights through it and ends up reversing the position and getting topside.
Bloodied and half dead and fucking finds a way.
That's what I get excited about. I don't care about the skilled guy who necessarily goes in there, and I can understand the beauty of being the dominant martial artist in certain areas. I can respect that, but I just really want to see a guy have to dig deep and have to deal with that and deal with the adversity, and then see him come out on the other side. That's what I thrive for. That's what I tune in for.
That's why people watch you, and that's what you. Before I really started trying to study what was happening, I just realized there was something different in those fights of yours. So you know what the Sap Alvarez scale is?
I do. I love it.
Yeah. I was trying to identify that while we're sitting around talking about stances and footwork and checking a kick and an overhand right and stuff. There was some other thing that we're not talking about. And that's what I was trying to identify when I created that scale that measured that. And you were the guy at the top of it. It was just, it only made sense. There was nobody else.
And I'm honored. And I'm still honored to this day.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. We never met in person. I've talked to you on the phone and done it, but I've never met you. That's weird, right?
First time.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. We're in the same...
You're West Coast, though, right?
Toronto.
Okay. Never mind. No, I'm right in Philly. So
and are you in Philly now? Is that where you're training most? So you see Mark and train with Mark in New York?
I moved out the hood. Phil, not necessarily in Philly. I'm in like Northampton, PA now, but yeah, I'm a Philadelphian by heart.
What are your kids? Do they get exactly what it is you do really? Like, do they understand what is different about you than the other fighters? Like, do they understand all of that?
They're not other fighters, other dads.
Yeah.
But as far my kids, I've exposed them to this, and because fighting in my house there's not a negative connotation to it. It's very positive. It's a very positive thing. Damage is awarded. There's a lot of things that in your everyday world that look as negative. That in my house, it's not much like that. But like my kids, I've brought them to every country. Their passports are full. I've brought them to the fights and exposed them as much as I could to let them understand. This is a deeper meaning to me than just getting in a cage and beating up another human being. That there's a deeper meaning behind this. It actually changed my life. It changed the human being I am and who I was going to become.
That's the thing. It's like when you say that, somebody would be like, well, of course that made you money, or of course that got you to travel. But it literally changed the fabric of who you are, how you think, and how you live in the world.
100%. And we can forget about money. My first pro fight, I paid the promoter $250 so I can fight. And to me, this has always been a dead end. This is I never looked at this like, hey, this is something I can benefit off of, or I'm gonna make never. It wasn't until when UFC started to make a turn, I said, holy shit, you can actually make a career doing this?
Yeah.
But I was doing it already. Like, I was in a basketball gym in front of 75 people doing this for paying. Mm-hmm. So this sport has come, this is a dream come true, what's going on.
Are you able to, right now you got to focus on the moment of Saturday, but there got to be times where you're like, fuck, like I've been UFC champions, traveled around the world, had epic moments, people celebrate my shit with scales and fucking, like, there are times that you realize how incredible your life is, right?
Not till recently. That was something that's something that I struggled with for like as a man a good period of my life. That my wife was basically like would tell me like, you need to like stop and smell the roses because like you're a champion of this and champion of that, and the belt is like you being used as a doorstop on the thing.
Shoved under the keep it. Yeah, right.
So like I'd win a belt, and then 2 days would go by, and I'd go, okay, what's next? And nothing ever satisfied me or made me feel confident ever. So like I became the UFC champion not confident. Like I wasn't even a confident person when I won the UFC title. So it's something I struggled with like throughout my whole like freaking career. Like I'd win and I still think not that good. There's other guys like, so like it's still something that I'll continue to deal with, but that it's getting better and better and better, where I'm starting to go, fuck, man, you did this, you did that, and
beat that guy, fucking walk through this thing, handle that. Yeah, fuck. It's, what you're saying is fucking logical. Like, of course that's how people think. And when people watch champions of things, they think somehow they're a different thing. I'm Steve on the couch, but this guy's... But you're just a fucking human being. You're a human being that trains really hard and fights in a terrifying environment against another guy in the exact... Like, everything you're saying makes total sense. But to some people, they're surprised when they hear it. It shouldn't be surprising to hear you say that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the thoughts don't change between us. The actions do. So right. I think if they think I don't have certain feelings, we're all feeling the same shit, Yeah. I'm walking to a fight, I'm feeling nervous.
It's fucking scary. That guy trained fucking his whole life to fight you right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm no different than the other person. What I'm willing to do will be different from me and the next person. What I'm willing to, how I'm willing to behave, doing, will be different. But as far as the feelings, shit, they don't quite go away. The only thing that kind of dissipates like certain feelings and makes them like calms them down is changing my perspective. When I change my perspective on things, sometimes that calms that feeling a bit, but. No different than anyone else, really.
Yeah, it's crazy how much control we do have over that if we can change how we see something. So I met a guy downstairs, he's in Detroit, and he's like, over the last decade, 1 million people left and the city, became poor, and people are like, this sucks, I'm scared, this is hard. He's like, I looked around and was like, I can buy a condo for $20,000, I have this cool place. He saw it as this great thing. It's the same thing to everybody, but he was able to see the exact same scenario as a really good thing. Like, we have control over how we view the world.
Yeah, 100%. I do. I do believe that. And I think some people, that's a habit. Like that, just same way the guy had the habit of trying to find a little bit of good. Like if this room went completely dark, I'd be the first guy looking for a tiny bit of light somewhere. And that's a habit you build over time. And the same way you build that habit, there's certain people who build the bad habit, saying, that looks like shit, and why is that pillow out of place, and why is that...
And this sucks, and I hate everything. And
So it's just a habit, and champions and people who get to the top level, what they do, they have a habit of finding good. They have a habit of continuing to find good, find encouragement, and find inspiration from different places.
Do you know George St. Pierre? Do you know him much?
I don't know him personally, no, but I've always looked up to him. I've always watched him and wanted to mirror him growing up in this sport.
He's a really good dude, and I did a documentary of his comeback, so I was with him for months, traveling around where he would train and eat and hang out and chat and stuff. And one of the things that he talked about the most with me is how scared he is, how much he fears losing and how much he fears not being good enough and all that. And at first it was surprising, and then it was really soothing. It's like, everybody's fucking scared. Everybody's scared of stuff. Some people choose to walk towards the fear, and a lot of people don't. But everyone who hears this conversation with you or sees George talk about that can go, fuck, I could do that. I could choose to walk towards the scary things.
Yeah. I agree. I have a saying, to even my kids, and I say, be afraid, be very afraid. And like people, it don't have the same meaning that people think it has for me. For me, I say, be afraid, be very afraid, because in fear, I've had them with dominant performances. In fear, I've moved in a way that I never thought I could. In fear, I've done so good under fear that I tell myself, when you get that feeling,
cherish it.
Yeah, cherish it. Yeah. Embrace it, because some shit's about to go down that you don't even know you're capable of. And if you can just kind of walk into it and embrace it, something magical can happen. Don't fucking run from that, because you're denying yourself an incredible experience that you don't even know, you don't even know you're capable of, and nobody in the room does. So and over time I've picked certain opponents, and I've picked certain guys who were the most dangerous guys that I could think of in the division, and that's the only reason I've done it, is because I knew how I respond. How I respond to that.
Yeah. And by doing it more, you respond to it better and better, and you've responded to it well 17 times, and this is number 18, and let's do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck. You gotta be, oh man, this, do you know much about Justin Gaethje? Like, do you know anything about him as a person? He's a reckless, crazy fighter who likes some of the things you like. Do you know anything about who he is?
I mean, I gathered, like, when we were on the show, he's your regular everyday. He's laid back type guy. He's a hard nosed blue collar working class. Like, he has a lot of the same qualities I have. I don't believe in much. I believe in hard work. I believe in having a good attitude, a good belief. Like, we have a lot of similar. We approach the game in a similar manner. So, like, I don't know him personally, but what I gather on the show, it's a lot of
similar.
Them.
To me, you have the ability to embrace that beautiful chaos, and you've done it many times. But you have little micro moments where you can quiet the sound down and make choices outside of that. And I don't know that he does. He's never really shown that. Is that something that you've thought about? That in some of these moments of chaos, you can choose to make it less chaotic, and that'll benefit you?
Yes. So, like, usually in a fight, inside of a fight, I call it 7 minutes. So I've been studying fights my whole life. I say around the 7-8 minute mark is when the brain actually starts switching back over to a cognitive state. Mm-hmm. Before that, you literally much of the first round is fight or flight,
right?
And it's
lizard brain.
It's tough to think, tough to approach things in like an analytical way. This is why a lot of the Justin Gaethje fights you see, after the 7-8 minute mark, things become calm, and there's a huge change, a huge swing of momentum at that mark, and
he toughs it out. But I know exactly, as you say it, I know exactly what you're saying. He gets through that, but he's not thriving at that point.
He's not thriving. He's no longer being the dominant guy that he was. Like, he's this dominant force in these 7 minutes, and you're like, holy shit, this guy's a hurricane. And then you see something happen around the 7.5, 8 minute mark, and you go, wait, this guy's human. The brain switches over. Now the brain's saying, you need to calm the fuck down, because you're not in a 7 minute battle. Right. You're in a 15
or 25 minute battle,
and we need to relax and maybe think this through.
Right. Make some good choices.
These next 7-8 minutes, we're gonna have to think about.
Yeah. So, and when you look at that and you thought about it, you're like, I can fucking tough out 7 minutes with any man on earth. Right? You know that.
The idea is going into the fight is not only to match the energy, not only to match the enthusiasm, but beat it with skill as well. So, like, you're gonna get in my face. I'm gonna match your enthusiasm. I'm gonna match your energy, and on top of that, I'm gonna be more skilled and more analytical than you are. So, like, I can't.
There's multiple things happening together.
Multiple. Yeah. I'm not going. Oh, this guy's an aggressive whirlwind. So I'm not going to fight fire with fire. I'm going to be analytical. No, bullshit.
Yeah.
Because a guy with
those 7 minutes you can't be.
Yeah, a guy with a strong belief and a very aggressive is most of the time going to be the analytical guy any day of the week. So we need to be aggressive. We absolutely need to be aggressive, but we also need to add in the other elements of the game that we can exploit on him. You know, so
and those other guys aren't fucking Eddie Alvarez. The other guys he fought aren't Eddie Alvarez.
No one he ever will be.
Yeah. Right?
No one ever he fights will be.
Yeah, exactly. So Mark's giving me a clue that this is our things wrapping up, but I really want to thank you, man. It's been like you have inspired me in watching and studying fighting. What you've done. It's really it's I'm a better person watching you fight.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. That's honestly a big part of the reason, we do what we do is I'm growing. Yeah. But I'm seeing other people, it's affecting other people, and it's a selfish thing, but I see other people go, holy shit, man, look what he does. Let me see what I'm capable of.
Exactly.
You know? So,
and when you were talking about people following you and following your training and following all the things you're going through, those will be the people that are there to learn something about life from watching you. You know?
not just fighting.
Yeah, but how to live their life.
I agree.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you guys want a more in-depth, follow me, trail me. It's TRALE. It's an app. Download it. It's free, and follow me on Trail. You guys are gonna get everything: the weight cut, the nutrition. We have mindset training, everything. So give it a shot.
Mindset training? Where did you learn that? Where is that? Just acquiring knowledge through the years?
No, I'm a monster book reader.
Yeah.
But like things that Eckhart Tolle, like The Power of Now, and I've read numerous books just to kind of deal, and it's therapeutic for me dealing with my own emotions of what I'm going through heading into big time fights. And over the years, I probably amassed, I can tell you how many books I read on, approaching this game and being able to let the noise of them emotions like settle down. So I just kind of sharing that and how I deal with them sort of emotions in trail. So
cool. Yeah, well, I'm gonna get it as soon as I get off this thing. I'll get it and follow you.
Sweet.
I'm fucking pumped for your fight, man.
My man.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Rob.
thank you.
Yep. Sweet.